All right, today is Monday, July 13th, 2026, Monday night after the close. Didn't have a chance to make the video on Sunday, so I'm doing it here on Monday night. I'm going to go through the major market indexes, the sector ETFs, and then I'm going to look at some other ETFs. What I'm looking for is trend and momentum. And the way that I measure trend is with this indicator here that's labeled FFTS. And what I do is look at the 1 EMA, the 3 EMA, the 8 EMA, the 21 EMA, and the 55 EMA, and check for proper alignment by asking these 10 questions and getting 1 point for each yes answer. So perfect trend stack where the 1's above the 3, is above the 8, is above the 21, and is above the 55 will give a score of 10 out of 10. And that's how I measure the trend. On the chart itself, the moving averages that I have on here have the 8 EMA in yellow, the 21 EMA in aqua, the 50 simple moving average in blue, and the 200 simple moving average in magenta. The second histogram indicator is also a fast fib trend stack using the same EMAs as the other trend stack, but on the second one it uses the relative strength line, the relative strength compared to SPY, and so you have the relative strength and the 3 EMA of the relative strength, the 8 EMA of the relative strength, and so on. The same moving averages, but using relative strength instead of price. And the third indicator is a momentum indicator, and what it does is it computes the RSI over the last 13 days, and it's the RSI not of the price, but the RSI of this quantity, 13 EMA minus 55 EMA. What that does is it measures up and down movements over the last 13 days of this quantity, and it outputs a number between 0 and 100, and then at the end I subtract 50 so that it goes between negative 50 and 50. So let's go through the major market indexes. We'll start with our benchmark SPY, S&P 500 market cap weight. We can see it has a score of 9 out of 10 on the trend. Looks like it might have barely closed under. It's closing pretty much right here at the 8 EMA. Momentum, though, is negative and decreasing. Next is the S&P 500 equal weight, RSP. Big jump in relative strength today. 10 out of 10 on trend and relative strength trend. Momentum is positive, but decreasing. Next is the NASDAQ composite. Trend is 7 out of 10. Relative strength trend is only 1 out of 10. And momentum is negative and decreasing. You can see we kind of have the 8, the 21, and the 50 all kind of coiled up here together. So it seems like it wants to either break upwards or downwards. So we'll be watching that closely this week. The NASDAQ 100 QQQ trend stack at only a 4 out of 10. Relative strength trend stack at a 2 out of 10. Momentum is negative and decreasing. NASDAQ 100 equal weight, 6 out of 10 on the trend stack, 4 out of 10 on the relative strength trend, and negative and decreasing momentum. The Magnificent 7, 8 out of 10 on the trend stack, 6 out of 10 on the relative strength trend, and momentum just turned positive, just barely positive today. So we do see that momentum has been increasing. We're kind of right here at the 50-day simple moving average. So we're watching this to see if it can continue building momentum. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, 8 out of 10 on the trend, 8 out of 10 on the relative strength trend. Positive momentum, but it has been decreasing. The mid-caps MDY, 5 out of 10 on the trend, 1 out of 10 on the relative strength trend, and negative decreasing momentum. Small cap Russell 2000 IWM, 6 out of 10 on the trend, 4 out of 10 on the relative strength trend, and negative decreasing momentum. The IBD 50, these are the growth stocks, 2 out of 10 on the trend, 1 out of 10 on the relative strength trend, and negative decreasing momentum. So out of these major indexes, the two that look good are the equal weight S&P 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial Average, with SPY and MAGS getting honorable mention. And let's also take a look at the VIX. This is the volatility index. See, it was creeping upward today after being very low, closing at a 15 on Friday and rising to a 17 today. Volatility has been low, but we'll be watching to see if this is going to spike up or not this week. So that's the major indexes. Let's take a look at the 11 Spider Select sector ETFs. We'll start with the utilities, XLU. It does have a 10 out of 10 on the trend stack, but relative strength trend is only 4 out of 10. Momentum is positive, so we've got 2 out of 3 working good. Next is the healthcare sector, XLV. Got 9 out of 10 on the trend, 9 out of 10 on the relative strength trend. Momentum is positive, but starting to fade a little. It's really just pulled back to the 8 EMA, so this is still looking very healthy. And the next is the financial sector, XLF. This is the best looking sector right now. 10 out of 10 on the trend stack and relative strength trend, and the momentum is positive and increasing. All the other sectors I have marked as red, so let's go through those. The industrials, XLI, down to a 6 out of 10 on the trend, 4 out of 10 on the relative strength trend. Momentum is still positive, but has been decreasing over the last few days. XLK, the technology sector, 4 out of 10 on the trend, 4 out of 10 on the relative strength trend, negative decreasing momentum. Discretionary sector, XLY, only 1 out of 10 on the trend stack, 0 out of 10 on the relative strength trend stack, and slightly negative momentum. Real estate sector, XLRE, 10 out of 10 on the trend stack. You can see we've got these moving averages all coiled together. Relative strength trend stack is only 2 out of 10, and momentum is negative, but it did increase today. Communication sector, XLC, you can see it had gotten well below its 200-day SMA and has started to work its way back up towards it. The trend stack is at a 6 out of 10 right now. Relative strength trend at a 5 out of 10. Momentum has turned positive, so this is something to watch. If the trend can jump back up to 8 or higher, and we keep this positive momentum, this is a sector to watch. XLP, consumer staples, 10 out of 10 on the trend, but only 3 out of 10 on the relative strength trend. Momentum is just slightly negative. Materials sector, XLB, 1 out of 10 and 1 out of 10 on the trend and relative strength trend. Momentum is negative. And finally, XLE, the energy sector, trying to get above the 50-day trend stack at a 6 out of 10, relative strength at a 5 out of 10. Momentum is negative, but has been increasing over the last few days. Similar to XLC, we'll be watching this to see if we can get alignment on all three of these indicators coming up soon. Nice to see the relative strength trend jump from a 2 to a 5 today. Okay, so those are the sector ETFs. We can see the strength has been in healthcare and financials. And last week I had selected 12 sort of group level ETFs, and some of them have held up and some of them have fallen back. So in particular, let's look at ITA, the aerospace and defense sector. When I made the video last week, the indicators were looking good, but now we have the trend dropping to 5 out of 10 and relative strength trend to 3 out of 10. It's still holding on to positive momentum. You can see we are below the 21 EMA. So I've taken that one off the list. And also the home builders ITB. It was looking good a week ago, but now trend has fallen to 2 out of 10 and relative strength trend to 1 out of 10, and momentum still holding positive, but has been decreasing over the last few days. So I've selected a new list, and these are mostly from the healthcare and financial sector, but except for these first two. The first one, IYT, This is the transportation ETF. It's got a perfect 10 out of 10 on relative strength trend and trend stack, and it has positive increasing momentum. So transportation sector is looking good. This next one, FDN, this is and it's called the First Trust Internet Index Fund. So these are like internet companies, and so we can see the momentum has just turned positive on Friday. And the way that I'm some stocks that I'm in, I've got Reddit and Match.com are two ways that I'm playing the strength in the internet sector. I don't think those are necessarily holdings of FDN, but they're kind of in the same space. Next is the XRT. This is a retail ETF. It has 10 out of 10 on the trend stack and 8 out of 10 on relative strength trend, jumping today from 5 out of 10 to 8 out of 10 on relative strength. And it does have positive momentum. So the retail sector. Next, PSCH. This is the small cap healthcare ETF. Looking good with 8 out of 10 on the trend and relative strength trend and positive momentum. XLV we've already looked at. XBI, this is the biotech ETF. So it had a pretty good trend here, and I've drawn this thick dark green line. That's what's called a GLB, green line breakout. That's a term coined by Dr. Wish. If we go out to the monthly chart, that is the all-time high monthly close going back to January 2021, and it is just now starting to break above that all-time high monthly close. And so the idea is that once a chart breaks above that GLB, it's a key breakout level. So it had broken above that level and is now, the last couple of days, has been pulling back. It looks like it's trying to pull back to the 21 EMA. So I've got it color coded as a yellow because the trend stack has fallen to a 7 out of 10 and the relative strength has fallen to a 7 out of 10. Still has positive momentum, but this is definitely one to watch. It could provide a good entry if it comes down and bounces at this 21 day. Similar behaving is ARCG, the genomics ETF. It's at a 7 out of 10 on the trend and the relative strength trend, and it has positive momentum. IYF, that's just an alternative to XLF, pretty much behaves the same way. We've already looked at that. KBE, this is a banking ETF, 10 out of 10, trend and relative strength trend, positive momentum. KIE, this is also within the financial sector. It's an insurance ETF. Perfect scores. And FinX, this is a global fintech ETF. Relative strength trend is not good, but the trend is 9 out of 10, and it has positive momentum. I do have a position in Robinhood, and that's the only financial position that I have. In the I skipped over in the healthcare. I have GH and what's the other one? TGTX and Lilly, LLY. I have the 2X Lilly. Let's go back to our list. KRE, this is a regional bank ETF. 10 out of 10 on the trend, 9 out of 10 on the relative strength trend, and positive momentum. So a lot of these financial ETFs are doing, looking really good with trend and momentum. And then in the technology sector, which has been fading here lately, the cloud computing ETF is looking good. 10 out of 10 on trend stack and relative strength trend stack, and momentum has just turned positive. I do have a position in CLOU. And also the cybersecurity ETF, HACK, HACK, looking good with 9 out of 10 on the trend, 10 out of 10 on the relative strength trend, and increasing positive momentum. I have a position in one cybersecurity that is FTNT. I'll go ahead and show that one. And in the cloud space, I also have Twilio and Datadog. So I'm pretty heavy in the cloud computing space. I have the CLOU, ETF, Twilio, and Datadog. And let me show some of my other positions. This is Robinhood, HOOD. And the kind of internet stocks, Reddit and Match.com. And then in the healthcare sector, TGTX, I believe this is a biotech, relative strength trend starting to fade today, so I'll be keeping a close watch on this. And Lilly, pulling back to the 21 EMA. I need to see this hold the 21 if I'm going to stay in this. And Guardant Health, GH. I just have a runner position left in this one, but it's still holding up here near the 8 EMA. And let me just close with looking at some sort of asset classes. The US dollar. The dollar has been rising. We can see it's got a 10 out of 10 on the trend stack, and it has positive momentum. It's generally bad for equities and other things like gold and Bitcoin when the dollar is rising. This is the 10-year Treasury yield, also rising, 10 out of 10 on the trend stack, positive momentum. So yields are on the rise. Let's look at oil, USO. Momentum is increasing, but still negative, and the trend is still it's not quite there. So we'll be watching this with the news headlines this week to see if this is going to continue rising. Gold has been in a downtrend for a while. You can kind of zoom out. It peaked back here in January, below all of the moving averages now. Same thing with silver. And then Bitcoin. Bitcoin had been in a pretty bad downtrend for most of the year, but it has recently started to increase momentum, and so I do have a small position in Bitcoin, where I'm just playing the momentum. Okay, that's it for this week's Markley recap video, and I'll come back next week with another update.